A Smash moveset for Neku Sakuraba from The World Ends With You. If you don't know, The World Ends With You is my favorite video game of all time, and Neku is the protagonist of that game, and I want him. He's my most wanted fighter in the game right now. And so yeah, this video will have major spoilers for The World Ends With You, so if you haven't beaten the game, go buy it now. It is on Switch, DS, and iOS, so I'd recommend the Switch port. The iOS version sucks though, but anyway, go and play the game, and the spoiler warning. But first, before we start, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Da 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 da. Did you know that most of my viewers aren't actually subscribed? And this is a real screenshot. Like, I would never lie to you. This is a real screenshot. And so y'all need to subscribe, and that'll raise up the arbitrary number that you see down there and make my ego get bigger. If you like the content, subscribe. It's totally free, and you can always unsubscribe later. Anyway, onto the video. So, Neku's attributes would be that he's light to mid-weight, heavier than Marth, but not as heavy as Inkling, and he'd be very fast. Faster than Mewtwo, but slower than Little Mac. And now, we're going to move on to his actual moveset, and with this, you'll get to see my great drawings, because I can't draw, so I just drew stick figures to essentially represent the moves here, and what the moves would do. So, his jab combo would use Shockwave to do a triple slash attack. The first slash would go forward, then upward, and then he'd spin around his body for the third one. The next attack would be his forward tilt, and it would have him fire 3 bullets ahead using force rounds, and the rounds would go forward a bit before dissipating, and they'd go just a few feet out from Neku. They'd also act as projectiles, so they could be reflected. For down tilt, he'd spawn a small patch of fire directly on the ground directly in front of him using pyrokinesis. It'd act kind of like Steve's down tilt, where it'd stick around and then disappear after the move. For up tilt, he'd spawn a small icicle that stretches upward in front of him using Ice Blow. Next, for his dash attack, he'd create a small whirlwind using in front of him that moves forward, and then he chases after it with a slash at the end using the Shockwave. So like the first part, he runs forward chasing after the whirlwind, and only the whirlwind will deal damage, and then at the end the whirlwind disappears and he slashes. For his side smash, he'd create a small pillar of fire about his height in front of him, and I wrote the pins that he'd be using out because you won't know this, but I wrote it so I could show what I'm basing it off of from The World Ends With You. So anyway, this would be his side smash. His up smash would be similar to Pikachu's Down B, in which he'd summon a Thunderbolt above him that hits him from above. Of course, this move could only be used on the ground, so it wouldn't be as good as Pikachu's Down B. And again, but like Pikachu's Down B, upon hitting him, the Thunderbolt will create an electric energy around Neku for a short while. For his down smash, he'll cause a small earthquake on either side of him. For his grab slash pummel, I've had the red character represent the enemy, and the black stick figure represent Neku. So keep that in mind as we go further. For his grab slash pummel, it would be an activation box in front of him, because Neku has psychokinesis using the pin, and for his pummel, he'd simply summon a lightning bolt down onto his opponent. For his forward throw would be similar to Mewtwo's forward throw, in which he tosses the opponent forward before firing 3 bullets at him. For back throw, he'd toss the opponent behind him before using Cool Line to summon a line that deals slicing damage. For his up throw, he'd release the opponent and summon 3 boulders below them which fly into them. Like this. And for down throw, I really wanted to work Rhyme into the moveset in some way, so he'd summon Rhyme's noise, and Rhyme would bite the opponent quickly. Next up are his aerials. For his neutral air, he'd create a few electric charges that revolve around Neku for a short while. For his forward air, he'd launch a small flame orb in front of him. It can bounce off walls and lasts a short while before dissipating. He throws it at a forward and upward angle, unlike his back air, which he throws at a backward and downward angle. His back air is a small boulder that doesn't bounce off walls but deals more damage and lasts slightly longer. Both his forward air and back air are projectiles, and he can only have one out at the time. For his up air is similar to Ivysaur's up air, in which he creates a small explosion directly above him. And for down air, he slashes downward with a sweet spot at the tip that spikes. It's a fairly standard down air that goes from high to low and then spikes at the end. Alright, now we get to Neku's gimmick, because in The World Ends With You, Neku goes, in order to use your psychs, which he is using in all of the moves, you need to have a partner, and over the course of the game, Neku gets 3 partners: Shiki, Joshua, and Beat. So the 3 of them will make up his moves. So his neutral special will be his gimmick move. It summons a wheel similar to Shulk's Monado Arts, and lets Neku switch his partners between the 3 of them, left for Shiki, up for Joshua, right for Beat. Each partner has their own set of special moves, and based on which one is active. Neku can use change partner no matter what partner he's using, and the partner only appears when using their moves and doesn't take any damage, similar to, I'd say, similar if you've ever played Dragon Ball FighterZ, similar to how Android 18 pops in for certain attacks, I think the character is called. At the beginning of the match, Neku's partner is selected randomly. Upon gaining the ability to use Final Smash, Neku cannot use Final Smash, however, Neku cannot use change partner until the final smash is used and is stuck with his current partner. This is because both change partner and the button to activate final smash are mapped to the same button, so you couldn't use a neutral special to change partner. And I think that adds a strategy, like if you see a smash ball, oh, you want to quickly change to the partner with the final smash that you're going to want to use before you grab the smash ball. Anyway, moving on to Shiki Side B, which is, remember that Neku has three of each of his special moves, each of his other special moves, depending on which partner is active. Shiki Side B has Mr. Mew lunge forward and scratch the opponent. You can mash the B button after the initial hits to trap the opponent in multiple scratches. It's kind of similar to Mii Brawler's second Side B move, but you have to press the button multiple times, and then it ends with a launcher move. For Shiki's Up B, Shiki attaches a string to Mr. Mew and throws him upward, and if it can latch onto the edge and act as a tether recovery. It then, of course, pulls both Neku and Shiki back up with him as Neku is holding on to Shiki's hand. For Shiki's Down B, Shiki places Mr. Mew on the ground, who runs back and forth across the stage and attacks enemies it comes across. It acts similarly to Bowser Jr.'s Down B, except without the explosion. It just scratches people nearby. And for Shiki's final smash, Mr. Mew grows to Godzilla-like proportions, and for Shiki's final smash, I use their fusion attack, their third level fusion attack, in which Mr. Mew grows to Godzilla-like proportions, and in the background, firing lasers for a short while, from his eyes for a short while, randomly around the stage, and Neku and Shiki stand on his shoulders. Next up to Joshua's moves, Joshua's Side B has him throw a car in an arc. Yes, a car. Joshua's moves have him using cars a lot in Psychokinesis, so this is what I thought I'd use. For Joshua's Up B, he uses levitation powers, which is another thing he has, on both Neku and himself, letting them fly around in the air for a short time. This is similar to Duck Hunt's Up B, in which it can be controlled in midair, and hitting Neku will knock him out of the move, putting him into freefall. Neku can also air dodge out of the move, and whenever the move ends, normally or otherwise, it puts him into freefall. For Joshua's Down B, he uses his phone camera in front of... He spawns in front of Neku and uses his phone camera, which stuns nearby opponents. The stun effect is that of Corrin's fully charged neutral special, and it allows for a follow-up from Neku. The move, however, has quite a few frames of startup, but very little end lag. For Joshua's final smash, they crash a meteor onto the battlefield. It flies from one of the top corners and explodes when it hits the ground. Now for Beat's side special, Beat and Neku would ride on Beat's skateboard throughout the stage. It's similar to Wario or Steve's Side B, and it can also be used in midair and jumped off of. However, upon hopping off, the skateboard simply disappears instead of sticking around like Wario's Side B. For Beat's Up special, Beat flips upside down and uses his skateboard as a helicopter, with Neku grabbing onto Beat's arms, sending Neku and himself straight upward. After using the move, you can move left and right slightly, but it puts you into special fall. and it's similar to Hero's partly charged up special. Now, Beat's down special is low-key broken. After using this move, Beat summons Rhyme's squirrel noise, and it flies across the stage a few times, similar to the Latios and Latias Pokeball item, but a lot slower. After using this move, Neku cannot use this move again for around 25 seconds, as Rhyme flies off screen. Furthermore, if the opponent attacks Rhyme, it stops the attack where it is, and automatically goes on a longer 30-second cooldown. As for Beat's Final Smash, it's an activation box similar that uses skateboards going through the screen, similar to Captain Falcon's Final Smash, and if it hits, it traps the opponent in a cutscene in which Beat and Neku ride across the wave across the screen, and they say their little dialogue options. For taunts, Neku, his side taunt would have Neku do his little antisocial stare into his jacket little thing. I based it off the different sprites from the game. And then Shiki plays with Mr. Mew next to him. For down taunt, Neku does his focus pose with his hands on his headphones, while Joshua does that stupid fucking hand pose that all the Joshua characters do. And for up taunt, Neku takes off his headphones and smiles, which references the ending of The World Ends With You, while Beat does a kickflip on a skateboard. Neku also has 3 different entry animations. They're chosen at random, and each involve them appearing in a white flash of light. However, only the dialogue and Neku's partner that appears with him changes. This also shows the players what randomly selected partner Neku defaulted to. And then Neku also has windscreen, 3 windscreens, and it depends on which partner he had active when game appeared on screen. For alts, a big thing in The World Ends With You is the different brands of clothing you can wear. So I wanted to have different brands of clothing for each alt. And I also wanted to have each one kind of represent this character in their color scheme. So like, for example, the easiest one was Rindo from the new World Ends With You game, Neo The World Ends With You, because he wears a Jupiter the Monkey shirt. And then you go down the list with a Gatito one that resembles Sho, a Natural Puppy one that resembles Coco, a Wild Boar alt that resembles Rhyme, a Sheep Heavenly alt that resembles Shiki's true form, the color scheme, a Muse Ratus alt that resembles Shooter, and a Tigray Punks alt that resembles Sota. His stage would be Shibuya's Scramble Crossing, which is a simple stage with walk-offs on either side. Occasionally frog noise appear to attack the players as stage hazards, and there'd be many cameos in the background from essentially the entire cast, including Mr. H, Katanji, Konishi, Shooter, Makoto, Soda, Now, Ramen Don, Sho, Rindo, Fret, Nagi, Korea, Uzuki, Higashizawa, Sugumi, 777, Shiba, and very rarely Eri, because I chose Eri to appear because it would make players confused, because Shiki appears near Neku in her Yuji form, which looks the exact same as Eri because of plot reasons. And you want to find out those plot reasons? Go play the game! For music, I want basically all the songs from The World Ends With You. So like, Twister, Calling, O-Parts, It's a Wonderful, Long Dream, Hybrid, Give Me All Your Love, Rush Hour, Ending Beginning, Detonation, Transformation, Takatai, Noisy Noise, Make or Break Twister remix, as well as the 2 songs that we have so far for the anime, Walls and Teenage City Riot, and the one new song that was from the Neo The World Ends With You trailer. About 7 to 8 of these songs should be new remixes. For Spirits, just basically all the stage cameos, plus Shiki, Beat, Rhyme, and Joshua. And now, we get to Mii Costumes. Of course, I want some The World Ends With You Mii Costumes with Sho and Rindo. I also want a base costume from Mega Man. I don't know, I think it'd be cool. Also, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity spoilers. I want a Terraco hat. Just having a hat of the little baby guardian would be really cool. And finally, hear me out for a second. Hear me out. This isn't just me being sadistic. So, I think Sora makes a lot of sense as a Mii Sword Fighter costume. Like, I know a lot of people want him in the game as a fighter, but if he was in the game as a fighter, he'd probably have to use Disney characters as some part of his moveset or something, which is a whole debacle dealing with Disney, which is something I don't think Nintendo wants to do. But The World Ends With You is already working with Square Enix, and Square Enix owns Sora as a character, I believe. So, if they put him in as a Mii Sword Fighter costume, it would make the people that want that would want Sora in the game happy. I mean, kind of. Not really. It'd make Nintendo happy because they get more money and without working with any extra companies. And hey, they can even throw Simple and Clean in there as a new remix. So that was my idea for NekuForSmash moveset, and see you all later.